Welcome back, everyone. Michael here with Offshore Citizen. Today I'm continuing my series of reviews on citizenship by investment programs. If you haven't seen already, I've done a variety of earlier ones. We did, let's see here, Vanuatu, we did Turkey, we did Bulgaria. I'm going to cover all of the different programs, including a bunch of the unofficial ones. So we're going to go through and you can discover some things that other people maybe don't know about because there's a bunch of unofficial programs, and I'll explain how they work and how they're different, etc. But today we're going to cover what is the most expensive official, and really, more expensive than pretty much every unofficial option, but yet one of the more attractive passports in the citizenship by investment arsenal, and that is Malta. So before we jump into that, I'm going to cover for you guys, how long does it take, what does it cost, what kind of visa-free access do you get, what are all the different fees involved, so you can understand the total consequences. There's two different options you can do for it. I'm going to explain how those options work. I'm going to discuss whether it applies to your family. Basically, we're going to cover how it applies to you or doesn't, and what my opinion is of it relative to some of the other programs out there. So stick around. If you have not, though, please, if you have not already, we would love it if you would hit the subscribe button, click the notification bell to make sure you don't miss out on any of our future videos. And if you're at all interested in getting an alternative citizenship by investment, you're interested in a residency program, investing to get a residency program, if you're interested just in, hey, staying in your own country or planning as you're traveling abroad or moving abroad to optimize your taxes to the lowest legal amount of tax possible, setting up an international structure, doing trusts, asset protection, forming offshore companies, opening bank accounts, please, that's what we can help you with. Reach out to us. You can book a call with me, carded.fm/Michael Rosmer. There's a link below. Or you can visit our websites, offshorecitizen.net and offshorecapitalist.com, and send us an inquiry. All right, now let's jump into it. So Malta. Let's talk about kind of on the surface what is the appealing thing, which is, of course, Malta is a fantastic passport, right? Before I knew a massive amount of this, when I had heard about the different programs, I kind of looked it over and I was like, man, Malta, seems like the most attractive option because I want, one of the best passports. Now, in practice, is it, really the best? I mean, they got rid of Cyprus, so the Cyprus Program, which was also a pretty good passport, is no longer there. It used to be you could do Slovenia unofficially. I haven't seen anything recently about that wasn't a fraud. There's a bunch of frauds out there, so that's one thing, but that was a very good passport as well. Hungary is the one that is competitive with it in reality, so they say it's visa-free access on 2 less countries, but you're talking about like you miss Mongolia. So basically, Malta has Mongolia, Hungary does not. Otherwise, they're virtually identical. So both very good passports. As a result, I tend to prefer Hungary for reasons that we'll discuss in the future. So yeah, we're left with this situation where you've got a really good passport. I mean, it's better than Bulgarian passport. It's better than, obviously any of the Caribbean ones, Vanuatu, Ukraine, Turkey, et cetera, right? It's a great passport. There's no doubt about that. It gives you visa-free access to Canada, the US, Mexico, Japan, New Zealand, Australia, Ireland, the Schengen zone, obviously. It doesn't include China. That's kind of one of the big holdouts. But generally speaking, like very powerful passport, very good passport, very well-ranked passport. It's a Schengen passport. It's not the type of country that's likely to tax you on your worldwide income, so that's good. And yeah, so just generally a great passport. However, it's not an easy passport to get, and it's not an inexpensive passport. So let's talk about costs now, right? So this is a passport by donation, and there's 2 donation options, all right? One is you do a 750,000 euro donation, all right? Well, 750,000 euros is, it's a bunch of money to give for a lot of people. Some people it's fine, but for a bunch of people, that's out of their price range, or at least on the high end of their price range. You can do a 600,000 euro donation instead, and you might think, oh, that's great, right? Why would I pay more? Well, the reason you would pay more is because the 600,000 euro one, you only get the passport after 3 years, okay? So it's like, hey, you wait for 3 years. Now, I'm going to qualify this and say that part of the reason why Malta is not that great a passport is the way that this works is they kind of market it to the EU that, oh, this is not a citizenship by investment program. This is an accelerated citizenship program, because what actually happens is you get permanent residency, or residency rather, in the first year, and then you're filing your paperwork, etc., and you get your actual citizenship after the first year. Okay, so it takes over a year. It's about a year to 18 months to go through this program. So, okay, you get more than twice as long if you pay the slightly less donation, but you also have to rent a more expensive apartment. Okay, so you have to either buy a property with this program, or you need to have a lease basically for 6 years, which is the 1 year of residency plus the 5 years afterwards for citizenship. Okay, and so normally that has to be a 96,000 euro lease. It's 16,000 a year for 6 years. That's basically what it works out to. If you do the 600,000 euro version, then you have to get 128,000 over the 6 years lease. So basically you end up paying a little bit more in rental, although maybe what you're renting is more expensive anyway. So 6 of one, half dozen of the other. It is good because you can bring your spouse and children, so that's cool, right? But then we have a whole bunch of other fees. So I put a list of these fees. I'm going to go over them with you guys here. So, all right, we've talked about already, of course, the donation, etc. Well, in addition to that, you have another donation of 10,000 euros. Then you have government fees of 15,000 euros. Then you have to get a residency permit, which costs you 5,000 euros. Then there's some document fees of 1,500 euros. And then the legal fees to facilitate this whole process, which is a lot of work and takes a bunch of time, etc., is like 70,000 euros on top of that, right? So again, it's like by the time you're all is said and done with this program, you're in it for, well over 850,000 euros, right? We're certainly in that range by the time all is said and done, not counting the cost of accommodation. So quite a bit of fees. You basically just have to figure that by the time you paid your lease and you've done all this stuff, etc., you're in it for about 1 million euros, right? So that compares negatively. Like I said, Hungary is, in my opinion, a better option here. As I mentioned, the way that this works is you're not actually getting the citizenship just like this. You're basically apply for residency on the basis that you're applying for citizenship. You get the residency permit. You file during a year-long period. Then after that, you go for the citizenship. So in theory, what they'll say is like, oh, it takes a little over 12 months, kind of 12 to 18 months. But you have to also consider you had to start the process of residency somewhere as well. So yeah, like I would say closer to 18 months by the time all is said and done in order to go through this. On top of that, their due diligence on this is pretty aggressive. Okay, they definitely work hard to screen people and make sure they're not just allowing anyone else in. If you followed the news, I did a video on it a while back about when they were closing down the Cyprus Program. Part of that was because they weren't careful about who they were bringing in, and it kind of bit them. So Malta does not want to be the next Cyprus. So let's see if I have any more notes. Yeah, that's pretty much the deal. So is it a good citizenship? Yeah, it's a great citizenship. Is it expensive? It's the most expensive citizenship pretty much in the world at this point in time. So granted, okay, if you have like something where you have to do a $10 million donation and you can, for contribution to some other country, do that, it's a little bit different. But of any of the programs that are, really accessible, etc., very, certainly the most expensive, okay? It's not fast to get, it's not easy to get. Somebody said to me recently, it's not exclusive so much as it's elusive. It's one that they don't do a lot of, in part because they make it kind of hard to do it. So that's the consideration. How do I view it? It's very rare that I see a scenario under which I think the Maltese program is the best option. The reason is because I think the Hungarian program is just dramatically more competitive in most regards, right? It's, like I said, essentially the same passport in terms of quality of visa-free access, etc. It's faster, it's cheaper, and less hassle. Doesn't apply to everybody. Not everyone can get in on that one. It's not an official program, but being said, I think it's a better option for a lot of people. Would I, who would I recommend it to? I would recommend it to somebody who doesn't have another option for getting relatively rapid citizenship in the EU. Now, I don't know really why you would be in that situation. There's a reason that I don't talk to many people about this program, because usually you can get a residency in the EU. You get another citizenship faster, cheaper, easier. That is probably going to cover you. And then if you want to go somewhere else, there's residency programs you could use in the meantime. And there's a bunch of programs that lead to citizenship. So long as you can be in the EU for long enough, you could justify that if that was your goal. If on the other hand, you have some like urgent need where you're like, hey, I want a citizenship that's going to give me access to places like Canada, the US, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, etc. That would be one thing, but then it would have to be like for some reason that this program would make more sense than the Hungarian program, and I just don't see that typically being the case. So anyway, my view on it, obviously, like I said, great passport, but not really the optimal option for most people. However, if you are interested, please reach out to us. We're happy to help you go through the process of getting it set up. If you're interested in one of the others, reach out to us, and we're happy to help you with that as well. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, please tell me why in the comments. Really appreciate the feedback. And as I said, if you are interested at all in these topics of international tax planning, how to pay as lowest legal amount of tax possible, etc., residencies, citizenships, offshore company formation, bank account openings, etc., book a call with me, clarity.fm/Michael Rosmer. There's a link below, or visit our websites, offshorecitizen.net, offshorecapitalist.com. And if you haven't already, smash the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, make sure you don't miss out on any future videos. I'm going to see you guys on the next video.